Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my performance review of the Li Ning Speed 10. So I mean, this shoe feels really good right off the bat. This is an amazing performer. This shoe is also pretty dang cheap, especially for the tech that you're getting. It retails for 135 bucks. If you guys don't want to cop, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. 135 bucks and you're getting full length boom, which is kind of crazy, you know what I mean? So yeah, let's get started right off with the tracciones. And here in the forefoot slash I guess midfoot, we have this translucent rubber with this kind of like square pattern, and it's a pretty interesting looking pattern. And then here in the heel, it's like a foam, right? And this foam kind of comes up here to act as, I guess, like the midsole, and also kind of like an external heel counter, right? It's like a triple purpose, you know, traction, cushion, and also heel counter, which is pretty interesting, right? But yeah, how is the traction? The traction is freaking amazing, right? If you're playing on a clean court, you're gonna have amazing stops, pretty much stop on a dime. You have a very loud high-pitched squeak as well, which I really liked. It did pick up a little bit of dust, however, right? Dust performance, I would say, isn't the best, but it was really good. So it bites through dust pretty well, right? And it's a very easy wipe, which of course is a very good thing. However, I did find myself wiping a good amount, right? So it picks up dust pretty quickly, you know what I mean? So if you don't mind wiping, then you should be fine. Like I said, it bites through dust pretty well. It wasn't sliding like crazy, just sliding a little bit, you know what I mean? Which is of course kind of annoying, which made me want to wipe, you know? And like I said, I needed to wipe pretty frequently. However, it's a very easy and slight wipe. So not a huge deal, and I feel like it's not going to be a huge deal for most people as well. And as far as the durability goes, durability doesn't seem like it'll be the best. I mean, okay, so here in the forefoot, the rubber is very hard, you know what I mean? But there's not a lot of surface area, not a whole lot of grooves, you know what I mean? And I guess the grooves are deep. But I am a little bit worried about the durability. I mean, it doesn't feel terrible, but also doesn't feel like it'll be amazingly good on an outdoor course. So just be careful on that. But for the most part, the traction is top tier. I had a really good time in the shoe because I was just stopping on a dime. You know what I mean? The traction is really good. So there's that. And also you guys can see the plate, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like a full length plate. We have a midfoot shank plate, but also it kind of extends into the forefoot as well. So we have kind of like a full length plate, which also kind of segues into heel to toe transition, which is very smooth and pretty dang springy, right? So here in the heel, we have a very nice curve shape, and because of that, and also this is foam. It's not a super soft foam, but it's not terribly stiff or anything like that. So we have a very smooth heel, and then the forefoot, look at this, super curve shape. Look at that. And also it is pretty easy to flex, you know what I mean? It's a very flexible and soft forefoot. However, we still have a pretty nice springiness to it, right? So out of your first step, or when you're doing heel dominant strides down the court, you have that kind of like springiness, and kind of propels you forward pretty dang nicely. Of course, it's not as springy as, like, you know, the Wild 10. You know, the Wild 10 has that full length carbon plate, which feels very nice. You can see through like the translucent outsole that I have the plate, right? And that kind of is a little bit more springy because of that. And this is probably just plastic, but it still feels nice and springy, right? So heel to toe transition, also very nice. And now moving on to the cushioning setup, of course, we have boom, as you guys can see, right? It's exposed here in the midfoot on the lateral and also on the medial side. So first of all, the insole is pretty nice. It's just a regular insole, you know, regular Li Ning insole, to be honest. But also underneath that, we can see another midfoot chain plate, right? So it's a double layered midfoot chain plate, right? Like we have a plate here on the bottom of the shoe, right? And also like a midfoot chain plate right underneath the foot. And also we have a soft mesh strub board with that full length boom cushion, right? So here in the heel, it's really soft. Here in the forefoot, it's really soft as well. So step in comfort and underfoot cushioning is really nice. I love it. It's soft, it's comfortable, you know, you have nice compression and also nice subtle bounce because boom has a nice subtle bounce as well. So very similar to a lot of boom setups found in Way of Wade shoes, you know what I mean? Like the AC12 and also the Wild 10. So it's pretty much the same exact setup here, but it's also 135 bucks. The AC12 is 150 bucks and the Wild 10 is like 200 bucks, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, you're getting a very nice cushioning setup for the price. And also another thing that I really like about this setup here is that the heel, or this cushion isn't that caged, you know what I mean? Especially here in the heel. You know, if you look at the AC12, it's pretty caged. The AC11 is very caged as well. Same thing with the Wild 10. The Wild 10 kind of like rubber cage is pretty soft, but this is just foam, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's not crazy amount of compression, like I said, you know, there's a little bit of compression, but it still feels pretty nice. The one thing that I love about it is the underfoot cushioning though, right? And also core feel is really good. Impact protection is nice as well. Heel strikes, I would say, isn't the best, but it wasn't terrible for me either. So the cushioning setup is really, really nice. And like I said, you're getting a really good cushioning setup for the price. I mean, for 135 bucks, you know what I mean? Like Nike, Adidas isn't gonna give us a nice setup like this for that cheap, you know? So there's the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So the upper is so dang minimal, and that's one thing that I really noticed switching from this shoe to other shoes, right? So I was playing with like the AE1 and some other shoes, and this shoe was the lightest and also the most minimal feeling shoe that I had, literally, of like all my rotations, all the shoes that I've been playing in, right? And I've been testing. This shoe was definitely like something that I noticed. Like when I put it on, I was like, yo, this shoe feels really light, very minimal, right? And that had, of course, to do with this upper, right? So for durability, of course, I don't think it'll be the best because this material is just so thin, right? So I definitely feel like, you know, this right here is gonna rip and not last as long as, you know, like traditional materials or if it was fused, but I feel like, you know, it still feels really, really nice on foot, right? So it's extremely minimal, it's extremely thin, right? Conforms to your foot really, really well. So I do like it. It's like it kind of reminds me of Lano Weave a little bit, right? If you look very, very closely, you can see like the woven kind of material, right? So I really like that. Also here on the lateral side, we do have a good amount of fuse with this Li Ning logo, of course, and kind of like this, like cheetah print thing going on. Not a huge fan of how that looks, you know, but yeah, it feels really minimal. And then for the tongue, we have very minimal amount of padding too. It's also a half booty construction tongue. This tongue connects to like this mesh material that goes underneath this. And also we have another material. You guys see this like hot pink material? It's like a felt material, right? It kind of loops in and makes this eyelet and kind of like double layers. It goes all the way here down into the midfoot. And that'll of course be really good for midfoot support, which is it's on the lateral and also on the medial side, as you guys can see. And then also here in the ankle area, we have very minimal padding. Obviously not a cozy feeling upper, you know what I mean? If you want something super cozy, it's not great, but this shoe is so dang minimal, especially with the upper. So yeah, and also the quality, right, with this kind of like textile material is pretty great. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel cheap really at all, which I do like. Like I said, the only thing I am worried about is durability. Like over the long run, it doesn't feel like it'll be as durable as, you know, a fused up material or like a leather material, obviously, right? So there's that. Moving on to the fit. So I went true to size, and this shoe fits me extremely well. It fits me like a glove. It's pretty much a perfect fit for me, right? So my toes go right to the edge of the shoe, very, very close. So I do like that, going true to size. Also here in the toe box, it is a snug fit, and also because of this kind of like textile material, it's also not glued down. So once you get it and break it in, it kind of stretches and the toe box gets a little bit roomier, right? So if it's a little bit tight at first, it should be okay. It'll get a little bit looser, it'll get a little bit more relaxed for the fit here in the toe box. And also width-wise, I would say it's slightly narrow, right? Now I have a narrow foot, so it's a perfect fit for me here in the toe box. Here in the midfoot as well, it does get pretty narrow too. You guys can see here on the medial side, it does kind of come in a little bit. So yeah, it's a very, very nice fitting shoe for me, and I feel like if you want a nice snug fit, go true to size. If you want it a little bit looser, then you should be fine going up half a size, but like I said, it'll probably still be a little bit snug. And if you have a wide foot or you want a really roomy fit, probably go up a full size, right? So there's the fit there. Moving on to the support and lockdown, right? So for me, I am pretty dang light. I'm like 165 pounds, so I'm a pretty light guy, right? But you know, if the support felt adequate for me, right? As far as the overall lateral containment goes, I didn't really have any huge issues or anything like that. And I feel like most of you guys won't really have any issues either. However, if you are a bigger dude, it's probably not going to be the best for support. So here in the forefoot, we have what they're calling the solid system. It's basically just two kind of straps going down underneath this material here in the forefoot for better support. So when you tighten the laces here for the first two eyelets, it kind of tightens over your foot and also gives you better support. And like I said, with this felt material, like the double layered, we have that here in the forefoot. Not a whole lot going on as far as the foam coming up acting in the sidewall, but for me, it was good. And then here in the heel, like I said, there seems to be an internal TPU heel counter as well as this like foam external heel counter. So lateral containment was adequate for me, but like I said, if you want a lot of support, probably not the best option, right? Also, I didn't have any issues with lockdown. You know, my heel felt good. I didn't have any heel slippage, and once I tightened the laces, my foot felt locked into the shoe. Lateral stability was good as well. As you guys can see, this shoe is really, really wide. Look at that. It protrudes out a good amount. So support and lockdown was very, very good. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. Like I said, this shoe feels extremely light, and because it is extremely light, right? So 11.6 ounces. That's an extremely, extremely light shoe. Let's check the other pair. 11.4 ounces, right? So average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So of course it makes sense, right? The upper feels extremely minimal. You're low to the ground, but also the cushion is very comfortable and soft. Traction is really, really good too. So you're gonna be feeling very, very quick, as I did. You know what I mean? So when I was playing this, like I said, when I put the shoe on, compared to all the other shoes that I was testing, I definitely noticed how minimal and lightweight the shoe felt. And also, I felt very quick and responsive because the shoe feels very quick and responsive when I was playing it. You know what I mean? So there's that. Moving on to the ventilation. Ventilation is really good. This material is very, very thin and allows for a lot of airflow. So yeah, ventilation is really good in this shoe as well. And aesthetically, I love it. Not a huge fan of this colorway. I guess I do like the pink, you know, but I don't really like the cheetah print and like the hot pink as much, but there definitely are some better colorways available. And also the overall silhouette, the overall design looks really good for the Speed 10. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yes, the Speed 10 I was super impressed with, and this shoe is a banger, guys, and do not sleep on these. You're getting really good I mean, also comparing it to weight of weight, it's cheaper than the like All City 12, which is 150 bucks with a full length boom setup, but this is only 135 bucks and you're getting full length boom setup. I feel like this shoe is really, really good for guards. Amazing shoe, super lightweight, very minimal, very responsive, but still has really good cushion, a really good underfoot cushion as well. I guess the only downside of the shoe would be like durability, right? You know, because of this upper, and also support. I mean, I feel like most guards you should be fine, but if you are a heavier dude and you do a lot of lateral movements and cuts, probably not the best option, but like I said, I feel like most people will be covered, right? So anyways, that about concludes my performance review of the Speed 10. This shoe is absolutely amazing. I love playing in this shoe, and I definitely do recommend it to you guys. So that about wraps it up. Again, if you guys want to cop, I try to leave a link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.